Welcome back, everybody. This is Freddie Mac, your ham radio crusader, and today we're going to follow up with some more advanced setup into Skywarn Plus. If you don't recall, Skywarn Plus is an add-on for the AllStar network. It's for your home node, whether it be an ASL version of the AllStar network home node or the HamVoip version of the AllStar network. It will also work on myGMRS. If you're not familiar with it, I have links for that down in the description. It's basically AllStar for the general mobile radio service, where you can link GMRS repeaters and nodes together just like you can on AllStar. Pretty stinking neat. But today on the Skywarn Plus add-on, we're going to cover the features of Pushover integration, which is a neat little feature, and what it does is an app and a little free service that you sign up for, that once your node engages and announces a new National Weather Service alert, it pushes that same alert to your phone, letting you know that it has engaged. And once the warning or watch or whatever the case may be clears, it gives you another notification to your phone letting you know that it has cleared. Another topic we're going to cover is Sky Control. And Skywarn Plus comes with a powerful control script, skycontrol.py, that can be used to enable or disable certain Skywarn Plus functions via the shell without manually editing the config.yaml file. This script is particularly useful when you want to map DTMF control codes to these functions. An added advantage is that the script provides spoken feedback upon execution, making it even more suitable for DTMF control. You can enable Skywarn Plus by toggling it and make it say the alert on cue, say the all clear, say the alert when it comes about, say the all clear once it's cleared, throw a tail message into your transmissions every 10 minutes or so, whatever the time you set. It'll change the courtesy tone as the alerts are issued, and once the alerts are cleared, it changes it back to your regular courtesy tone. So if you jump on your node or your local repeater that has AllStar and Skywarn Plus installed, you key up and speak and you get a different courtesy tone, then you will know it's a mental prompt, hey, there's some kind of warning active. I wonder what it is. But once it clears, it'll go back to its normal default. You can also make it change your ID. It's not something we're going to do today just yet, but we will be covering it in the future. And there's some alert scripting that can be done as well, and I'm still researching that, so we won't be covering that today either. We're also going to be covering Skydescribe. Now this is a neat one, in my opinion. Skydescribe is a powerful and flexible tool that works in tandem with Skywarn Plus. It enables the system to provide a spoken, detailed description of weather alerts, adding depth and clarity to the basic information broadcasted by default. The Skydescribe.py script works by fetching a specific alert from the stored data, maintained by Skywarn Plus, based on the title or index provided. The script then converts the description to audio using a free text-to-speech service and broadcasts it using asterisk on the defined nodes. Pretty stinking cool. And this doesn't do it arbitrarily. You have to manually type in your DTMF code to make it sound off so that you can give your listeners out there detailed information about the alert. And this is some of the DTMF coding we'll be putting in. So let's jump right into it, shall we? Okay, the first thing we're going to do is SSH into our node. And we're going to go down to number 9 and start that bash shell interface. Now I like to go to the root directory myself and then just change directory into USR local bin Skywarn Plus. I always like to hit dir so I know what I've got in there. And there it is, that config.yaml file. Let's go nano config.yaml. And there's our configuration file for Skywarn Plus. Let's scroll down here, make sure everything's cool. There's our node number. And there's our county code. These are things we do at the very beginning. Like I said before, this blocking section will allow you to block certain alerts if you don't want to hear some of the alerts that you consider not as important. Myself, I want to hear them all. This is where we turned the tail message on in the last video, and I think we have it set for every 10 minutes. And what that does is once an alert has been issued and Skywarn Plus picks it up and engages it, every 10 minutes or so of regular traffic on the node, when the time is reached and someone unkeys or pings the node or the repeater, Skywarn Plus will re-announce the short version of what the alert is. And here's where we engage the courtesy tones, but we're going to go down here. Oh, one more thing I wanted to cover that I may not have covered in the last video. On courtesy tones, we enable it here, of course, and these are the files that are defined that get changed once the alerts get issued. But I noticed we had been under excessive heat warning and heat warnings here recently quite a bit, as well as special weather statements. And those are not in this CT alerts, which is courtesy tone alerts, list. But I wanted it in there. So what I did, and you don't have to go in a certain order, but you know me, I'm just a little bit OCD. So I came up here and did this number. And saved it into the file. So when the next heat advisory was issued, I got the courtesy tone change. Just a mental cue for me in case I missed the issue somehow. It will remind me when I key the repeater or the node the next time. Here's our Skydescribe stanza. And you can see Skydescribe is the feature that allows you to request a detailed description of the weather alert through the Voice RSS website. So before we get started here, I'll show you the Voice RSS website and how you can create your account. You'll need that first. We'll go to Login, Registration. Prove I'm not a robot, and register. I'm not sure if I'm logged in already or whatever, because there's a generate, current plan is free, account state is inactive. Okay, so maybe I've got to activate my account. And it was sent to my email address, so let's bring open the old email and click on that link to activate it and go to your profile. So now I got to log in. And down here is my API key, which I can copy. All right, now that we have our voicerss.org website, account set up, and we've got our API key, we're going to paste it or type it right into this section, and make sure there's a space between the colon and the first digit of your API key. Mine is here, but of course you won't see it because it'll be censored out. Now these other changes you can change as you wish. If you don't want it to be in English and you do it in another language, you will change that here. The speed of the speech rate is set by default at 1. You could make it slower or faster. 1, and then increments up from there to 10 are faster, and 1 and increments lower into the minus area go to -10 for slower speech. And the default voice is John, and I think there may be another voice you can get for the free version, but I just leave it here because he's very easy to understand. And you get a maximum words of 150. Trust me, you don't want more than that, especially if you get a nice long alert, because your repeater will be keyed up for a long time. So once you get your Skydescribe API key, paste it in here. We're going to keep on going down. To Pushover. Pushover's that app I talked to you about before. You need to go to Pushover, I think it's pushover.net. Let's take a look. Yes, go to pushover.net where you can create your account. And there you will need a user key and a API. As you can see here, you'll provide your Pushover user key here. There's got to be a space between the colon and the first digit, and you'll have an API token that they will provide you as well. It will get put in here, but you want to make sure that you change false to true. And type in your user key and your API token. There's my user key. And my API token. Paste that in. And let's scroll on down the config file here. Make sure we got everything else that we want. We're not going to turn our injects on just yet, I think. We'll double check everything here. Yeah, we did Skydescribe, Sky Control, and Pushover. So yeah, we've made changes in our config.yaml file for our Skydescribe feature and for our Pushover feature, and we'll go into rpt.conf next to add in our DTMF commands for Sky Control. So let's Control X, yes to save, and enter to exit. So now let's nano etsy asterisk rpt.conf. But wait, there's an easier way to do this. I'm going to show you guys how I use FileZilla, or you can use WinSCP to go into your node, and it's a little bit easier to navigate the rpt.conf file because it's so large. So let's back out of here and go take a look. So this is FileZilla. There's a Mac version and a Windows version. Initially, I always used FileZilla for an FTP client so that I could transfer files to and from my website. But it also has this feature. I set it for the trainer node, but the protocol is set at default to FTP, but I changed it to SFTP in this case. It's an SSH file transfer protocol, which makes things a little simpler for me. You put your same user credentials as you would into PuTTY or any other SSH client, and just put those same credentials in there and connect, and you'll get this little indication up here what's going on. And if your files show up over here, directories and files, you'll know that you're connected. But I always come up here to the double dots, double click it, and that brings me into the root of my AllStar node, my Raspberry Pi that's connected to my AllStar node, or that is my AllStar node. And if I want to alter rpt.conf, I go to Etsy, double click, I go to asterisk, double click, and then I scroll down until I find rpt.conf. Now, if this is your first time using it, I always right click and hit view edit so I can edit that file, and it will open this text editor. But if it's your first time using it, it may say, hey, what text editor program do you want to use? So if you're using Windows, you'll want to use Notepad most generally, or unless you have another preference, you'll have to direct it to tell it where to go to get that file and open it every time. You'll only have to do it on the first instance, and then it'll say, okay, I'll just go open it from there from now on. But I'm in a MacBook Pro, so I use this standard text editor that comes with it. But I like to come up here to font and make it bigger, or I can hit this curly Q H looking thing and hit the plus sign and get it bigger if I want to. But nonetheless, this is our rpt.conf, and I do this because rpt.conf, as you know, is enormous, and all three of my nodes are listed in there. You may only have one node, you may have two. I have three. I have one for my public node, 576.333. Then I have two private nodes, 1997 and a 1999. But this is our trainer node, so there's only a private node and a public node. So there's many things you can do with that we'll cover in other videos. But I want to find a certain section. But before I do, let's go back to the GitHub. We'll come back here to the GitHub, and we want to do Sky Control first. And under the Sky Control section of the GitHub repository, under the Sky Control section of the repository here on GitHub, there is a list of DTMF commands. And if you hit this little double squares right here, it will copy them all for you, the entire stanza. And I'll come over here to FileZilla, open that text editor back up, and I'll hit view, edit, find, and we want to go down to functions. And we have 15 entries, but you've got to thumb through here until you get down a little ways to the function stanza. And under that are the DTMF commands that you can already use by default in AllStar or your HamVoip version. Like to disconnect from a link, you'd hit *1 plus the node number. To connect and monitor only, you'd hit *2 and the node number. Or to connect into transceive mode where you can talk and receive, you'd hit *3. And *4 does remote commands and execute macros on *5. That's another video. But we're going to stay in functions under our node. See, we have functions here. And then we've got functions 576.333. So these are the functions for our public node. So we're going to come down here, and you can see that I've already pasted in the DTMF commands for Sky Control and Skydescribe. Here's the ones we just copied. You just want to make yourself a space here, paste them in, and I can show you how easy it is to do. And I just pasted them all right back in. Give yourself another space, and you can come over here to Skydescribe section and go down just a little ways, and you'll see another stanza of DTMF codes for Skydescribe. hit that right there, copy it, or you can just select it all, right click and copy. And paste those in right here. So what this is doing, Sky Control, let's say you were to key up on your walkie or your mobile radio and type in *831, it would tell, Sky Control would tell Skywarn Plus, hey, toggle whether you're on or off, do the opposite. So if it's on, it's going to come on and say Skywarn disabled. And then if you do that again, it's going to say Skywarn enabled, which I'll give you a little demonstration of here shortly. You can also make it say the current alert, say the all clear, and toggle, I'm sorry, let me rephrase. You can also make it toggle the say alerts. So if it's already on, it'll turn it off, and the all clears, you can turn them on or off. Tail messages, courtesy tones, alert scripts, etc. Now, under Skydescribe, let's say you have one tornado warning already issued. And you're like, oh my goodness, all right, we've got a tornado warning. I'd like to let everybody listening on the node or repeater what the details are about that warning. So I can hit *841 and Skydescribe will go out there and convert that text to a voice, and I mean it does it lightning fast. A computer generated voice, and then it airs it out. But let's say you've got 2 alerts going, or 3, or 4. You might have a severe thunderstorm warning, a flash flood watch, a tornado warning, or a tornado watch, and like the other day, we had a heat advisory and a severe thunderstorm warning all at the same time, and then a special weather statement came through. So I'm like, which one do I want to air? So you have to do it one at a time. And if you hit *841, it does the first one in the list. And they list them by severity. So if you have a tornado warning that comes in last, it throws it to the top of the list because it's the most severe. And you can look and see what order it's in on your Supermon or Supermon 2 page. Nonetheless, this is where you would type in those codes. And we'll test that here in just a moment and put in our test injected warnings and alerts. All right, once we've added these DTMF commands for Sky Control and Skydescribe, we're going to hit File and Save, close our pt.conf, reselect FileZilla, and it'll ask us, a previously opened file has been changed, and it is because you just saved it. You just want to always hit yes here, so it takes that file, uploads it to your node, and everything is anew. And you can X this out and close FileZilla if you wish. Okay, so we're going to SSH back into our node and go to number 9, start that bash shell again. We'll make sure that we're in the Skywarn Plus directory and nano config.yaml. Still like to call it YAML, and hit enter. All right, and we're going to go all the way to the bottom to the dev section, and we're going to hit inject, we're going to go to the inject line and change false to true. And this will inject these 3 alerts: tornado warning, tornado watch, and severe thunderstorm warning. These aren't going to be actual ones, obviously, but these allow for testing, so we're going to inject them. So once we've typed in true here, we're going to Control X, yes to save, enter to exit. And we wait. We have to restart Asterisk, I believe. It may start on its own, but we're going to restart Asterisk anyway. So if we type in asterisk.sh, hit enter,
updated local information. Tornado warning. Tornado watch. Severe thunderstorm warning.
Now, while I was doing that, my phone vibrated and I got a pushover notification where it says alerts changed, tornado warning, tornado watch, severe thunderstorm warning. If I hit that alert, it'll show me that it's Skywarn Plus telling me about those alerts. You can either delete the notifications here, forward them on, or copy and paste them into something else if you wish. But it's a neat little thing to have. Now that we have them installed, let's go back down to our list of commands into Sky Control. We'll come back to Sky Control. Let's go to Skydescribe first. And let's okay, I have 3 alerts, so let's see what the first one is and do star 841.
Detailed alert information for tornado warning. This alert was manually injected as a test.
Since it is a test injected warning, that's the message we get. If it's an actual one, that voice will read 150 words of the actual warning or watch. So let's do the second one, star 842.
Detailed alert information for tornado watch. This alert was manually injected as a test.
So real quick, we'll go to Supermon page and hit all nodes. And there's those 3 listed, and I think I may know why, since that may not be in the list. Here are our 3 warnings and watches: tornado warning, tornado watch, severe thunderstorm warning. If I were to log in, you'll see those 3 here. Now you can also come to your Supermon page and type in star, what did I say that was? Star 841. Hit DTMF.
Detailed alert information for tornado warning. This alert was manually injected as a test.
And it will do that DTMF command from there as well. Let's see if that 843 shows up here.
Detailed alert information for severe thunderstorm warning. This alert was manually injected as a test.
So my radio might have a problem with its number 3 or its 8. Well, the 8 and the 4 work, and so did the star, so it did on the other 2 commands. So you can do your DTMF commands from this window on Supermon as well. Okay, so let's try some Sky Control. Let's say you're out and about and you want to be able to control the Skywarn Plus Add-On remotely. So these are the mapping of the DTMF commands to control it under Sky Control. So the first one is star 831. Now, don't get me wrong, a quick tutorial. You can change these codes. You can change it to star 999 if you want to, but you have to be careful. Let's say you have another set of commands in there that start with 83, for example. And you've come in behind that and put in another list of commands with 83 and a 3rd digit. Now, Asterisk is going to say, oh, 83, boom, there's a 2-digit command in there for 83, and I'm going to stop right there and execute it. So you'll never make it to 831. So just make sure those first 2 digits, if you're using a 3-digit code or a 4-digit code, just make sure those first digits don't match something else. So just keep that in mind. Let's make sure. Let's turn our power down here.
Tornado warning. Tornado watch. Severe thunderstorm warning.
So that is our tail message. The node had set quiet for at least 10 minutes, and when I keyed up again, it's reminding us, hey, these warnings have been issued. And these are the test injections that we put in for testing purposes. So All right, the first one is star 831, and it toggles Skywarn Plus. So if R3 is going to work, which I'm betting it won't, we may have to change walkies. Let's try it anyway.
Good morning. The time is 9:07 a.m.
It stopped at star 83, didn't it? Let's try a different walkie to make sure we're not getting some mixed signals here.
Channel moved.
Yeah, Barry White's back.
2.
Star 831.
Skywarn Plus disabled.
So star 81 must be to say the time. Yes. And then star 831 again.
Skywarn Plus enabled.
I love that audio feedback. Lets me know if I hit the right button or not. That is great. Toggles, ID change, alert script, courtesy tone, tail message. Ooh, you can turn the tail message on or off too. Star 834.
Tail message disabled. Tail message enabled.
There we go. This Baofeng BF18H DTMF keys and pass through to audio and transmission is strong. It works really well. Haven't had a lot of issues with that. The TID radio is having an issue on number 3. Okay, so this is our Supermon page, and all 3 of those test warnings are still in there. We've covered Sky Control, Skydescribe, and Pushover notifications, which Pushover is pretty simple to do. It'll take you longer to set up your account online than it will, and I think you might set that account up through the app on your phone. But nonetheless, you'll go to the website to get the user API key. I'm sorry, the user key and then the API key as well. It takes 2, where voicerss.org only needs an API key, and you'll put those into the config.yaml file in the Skywarn Plus directory. So let's go back into our SSH client and turn off our manual injects. And we're back into the SSH client. I'll hit number 9 and enter that bash shell. Make sure you're in the Skywarn Plus directory, and nano config.yaml. Make sure there's a space between nano and the word config. Hit enter. And let's go all the way to the bottom to the dev stanza. We're going to come back here to inject and change that to false. Control X, yes to save, enter to exit, type in asterisk.sh, hit enter. That will restart the asterisk server.
The National Weather Service has cleared all alerts for this area.
You get the audio verbal alert, and you also get your alerts on Pushover. Alerts cleared from Skywarn Plus, which I have spelt wrong, and it says Skywarn. Just notice that. I'm not dyslexic at all. But it did it at July the 18th, 2023 at 9:13 a.m., which is when we are recording this video. So whenever you put it in your application section, don't misspell Skywarn. Mine says Skywan, but I trust you'll do better than I did. Okay, that covers Skydescribe, Sky Control, and Pushover notifications for Skywarn Plus. I'm really glad that all you guys and gals joined me for the making of this video, and I hope that you enjoy Skywarn Plus as much as I do. I live in Tornado Alley, northeastern Oklahoma, and we get a lot of weather here that tends to get severe in the spring and even in the fall. It seems like before Thanksgiving every year we'll get a good round of storms, maybe even a tornado or two. We used to always just kind of characterize that into a spring, but not in Oklahoma. we can just pretty much get it any time. And the last few winters, we've been negative temperatures for some reason. Thank you, global warming. I blame Al Gore. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, Skywarn Plus is a nice addition to have to your local AllStar node, which we have an AllStar node link into our 70 centimeter repeater up in Preston, Oklahoma. So these same alerts go out over the air for them as well. And I'm about to have another node on our 2 meter repeater, actually a couple of them in our area. So this kind of gets the word out. And as you're driving, you monitor your local ham repeaters and get these alerts on the go. Well, that's all for today, folks. This is Freddie Mac, your ham radio crusader, hoping all the good signals to be yours. And I'll catch you on down the log. 7-3s. Ham on, y'all.